Hello everybody, this is TipTop MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering video. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at MTG Arena's Color Challenge and giving you a guide on the black section of it. The Color Challenge is MTG Arena's tutorial, and it takes you through many different matches that all require the kind of correct path to take. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about which path and what cards you should play in what order, but not just that. I could tell you right now in a couple seconds, hey, play this card, then that card. But what's really important is learning what the lesson is trying to teach you. Each section has a lesson, and in this video, I'm also going to be talking about those lessons and maybe expanding upon them too. Now, in this video, I'm just covering the Color Challenge Black, and if you only are having trouble on one section of it, there are timestamps in the description, on the little YouTube search bar, and right on screen right now. So you guys should check those out, and if you're having trouble with any of the other ones, I have a whole playlist. There'll be a link to that playlist in the description down below, where you can find all of the different colors. Now, I've been rambling on too long, so why don't we just jump right into the first challenge? So the first challenge is black versus green. Black is going to be all about interaction and trying to get rid of your opponent's things, whether it be through death touch or kill spells, and then you're also going to benefit off of your creatures dying. Green is going to be about having tons of huge creatures, and that kind of works well for black. I mean, black can just take you the 12-12 and just kill it. And so in this lesson, they're going to talk a lot about, they're going to like show you a lot about the order of how you play. And actually, this one I had to redo. I actually messed this one up the first time I did it. So I figure this one will probably be, a little bit harder just because it is so important that you kill this thing and don't save your removal for this, but do save your removal for that. So yeah, why don't we actually just jump right into it, because the lesson here is save your removal for the right time, and that's kind of hard to talk about without actually seeing what the right time is. So why don't we jump right into this? So you'll notice if we look at our opening hand, we have a kill spell that can kill anything with 1 power toughness, and a card that cares about when creatures our opponents control die. So Malakir Coldblade, that we want to play first, because, well, if we have to kill something, we want to get some benefits off of it. Now, cutting off your opponent's mana really early is a good idea. It may seem, nice to play the rat so that you can get a death toucher on the board, which will allow you to basically kill anything, but by cutting off our opponent's mana supply early, it lets us kind of get that advantage. They do end up playing another one, which is unfortunate, but we do draw some removal, and now we can play both the rats and the removal. Again, it may seem like, oh, but I want to save this in case they play something big, but in a deck like this where you want to kill things, it may be better to just stop them from casting their big things, especially when your removal is based on size. If it was a kill target creature, yes, there may be an argument to, save it, but at this point, it's fine. Now, swinging with the rats, that is really up to you. I believe they would block with the 1/1, but it's good to save it so that they don't attack with the 7/6. Now, what I'm planning to do here, so it will give it -3/-3. So what I decide to do is swing with a couple things, and this is really what you want to assess, is your 3/3 more valuable than their 7/6? Because you can reduce their 7/6 down to a 4/3, and now they're going to trade, and now they're down to 2 life, and we have 2 creatures. As long as they don't play, if they play 1 creature, fine, then they get to live another turn, and they do play another creature, but we are slowly whittling them down. But then they decide to attack, and yes, they're going to, there's no point in sending in the 4/4 because it's just going to block. But if they want to sacrifice their 7/6, they can. Now, at this point, they have to block every single thing we send at them, and they do have 3 creatures, which is unfortunate, but we kind of just need to be able to get that last damage in. Now, we get another rat, which is nice to counter their 7/6, so now we have a rat for every 7/6, and they decide to double block, which is a misplay on their part. They should have chosen, because it doesn't do anything, they should have chosen which one they wanted to, kill. And then they start playing these pack hunters, and so they're starting to get this really big defense, and we can start killing things. And at this point, my goal is to try and get the Cold Blade up to be higher than the 7/6. And as you'll notice, you're getting a lot of removal spells in this challenge, and you want to make sure you're saving them for the right moment. If we would have, saved the one that gives it -1/-1, what would we have killed? Well, nothing. But by doing it like this, we can we made them, we were able to build up our defenses before they could get a super big defense. Now here I decided to attack with this, because if they double block, well then I get to kill their 5/5, and they're left with the 4/4, and we have nothing, which may seem bad, but it basically just, we're both top decking, which means only getting the top card of our library because we're out of cards. I mean, we have a mountain or a swamp, and then we pull the perfect card. This one is a 7/7 with flying and trample, so we can just fly right over them and win the game. And so that's generally how you're going to want to win. The way I messed it up was I didn't kill their removal early. I decided, oh, I'll save the removal for something really big and something that I need to worry about. But by cutting off their mana early, we're able to get to our big threats before they are able to get to theirs, and we are able to win the game. So again, from that, you kind of want to learn that, hey, save your removal for the right time. And of course, if you just want to look at this for the, here you do this in this order, there you go as well. Now, why don't we move on to the next challenge? So the next challenge is versus white, and white likes to boost up their creatures, and so our kill spells are going to be pretty effective. Now, here you'll notice that we have, a creature that can resurrect itself, a kill spell for something small, and a creature that has flying and that will slowly get bigger. Now, we do get another kill spell, one that can kill something, again, small, but, so they play a 1/4, which may be tempting to kill, so you can swing for the 1 damage, but you have to think about it. Right now, they don't have any board state on you, and, you can play the 1/1, which will be able to just slowly kill them. So until they play something, we should save it. Now, here is a perfect example. If we killed the 1/4, we wouldn't be able to kill the Angel of Vitality, which means that we wouldn't be able to deal damage and wouldn't be able to get our Spell Gorger to get bigger. And again, they would have like the advantage over us. They wouldn't just be at a stalemate, versus now we can start getting the advantage over them by being able to make our Savage Gorger get bigger. As well, we're leaving open 1 extra mana to be able to cast our kill spell if we need to. Like, for instance, if they were to cast something really scary, or like an Ajani's Pridemate, or the 1/1 that gets a counter whenever you gain life, because now with their Impassioned Orator, it would become too big to kill, so we have to kill as it enters the battlefield. Now, still, they're not playing any flyers, and we're able to block their 1/4s, and if they swing with their Impassioned Orders, we can double block them to kill them. So they really don't have any attacks, but they play this Hallowed Priest, which is the card I was talking about. They're going to gain 2 life, but if we kill it in response, we're able to stop that. And what this lesson is trying to teach you is 2 things. First off, saving your removal, not just for the right time, but also saving it for, like, knowing when to cast it. Yes, you could have waited, but not really, because then you would have, the creature would have been too big. The other lesson, and we'll get into this soon, is the Sanctum Skeletons. Learning how their ability to come back from the graveyard is super valuable. Now again, we're able to kill the Hallowed Priest before it gets big, and they keep swinging with the 1/4, which is really irritating. I mean, it's not technically wrong. I mean, I don't know, because they could have a boost spell, but we're able to start swinging. Now we have 2 of them, so this just goes a little bit faster. So we have lethal in 2 turns. So we're going to swing, and then we can swing again. And this time they get a Hallowed Priest, and we can't do anything about it. It's going to get up to 3 power, which if we do draw another one of the fracture things, we can kill it, but we draw a land. And so what we do is we just swing, and we basically have to survive. And at this point, you really don't need to do much unless they can gain a ton of life. If they're able to gain a bunch of life, it is kind of irritating because it may outpace the Savage Gorger. As you'll notice, we only have 9 damage, but they have 11 life. They swing with their 5/5, and you'll notice we're able to block it here and not really worry about it because we have 7 mana. We can just bring it back to our hand right now, and then on our turn, just replay it for 1 mana. And we did that to prevent 5 damage. Now, I'm pretty sure at this point, you could have just not blocked, and you'd probably still win, but it's better to be safe. And so at this point, we're going to win, and they don't have a creature. So then they're going to swing with everything because, well, they might as well. And so what we're able to do is just block and survive. So this one's kind of just a game of survival, and it kind of teaches you about chump blocking, which is the idea of you're only blocking a creature to prevent the damage. A lot of the time when you block, you're doing it to kill the creature, to trade with the creature, but here you're doing it just to block. And so if you ever hear anyone say, oh, I chump blocked, it means that they just kind of threw a 1/1 in front of a 20/20 just so they didn't take the damage. The 1/1 did not do anything by hitting the 20/20 besides prevent the damage. So yeah, that's kind of teaching you a little bit about that. It teaches you about how to use good chump blockers, and it also kind of helps you understand how to kill things at instant speed. So yeah, I hope everyone learned a lot from that. So why don't we move right on to the next challenge? The next challenge is black versus red, and red is generally really quick, black is very good at removing things, so we want to be able to remove things very quick. Our opponent is actually going first, which is unfortunate for us, but they managed to get out 1 damage. Now, our 1-2 for 1 is very powerful in this match because it can block the 1-1, so we essentially got rid of it. But then they play a 2-2, so we can't effectively block that. But we kind of can. So you can swing with the 1-2, and they'll think, oh, it's an easy block, and you can kill it. And that's, I think, part of what the game is trying to teach you at this point. The game is trying to say, hey, you can combine these kill spells that don't quite kill with your creature, and then boom, your creature doesn't die, and you have a 1-2. And the same thing kind of happens here again with the 3-3. Now our kill spell does a -2/-2, which means that we can do basically the same thing we just did again. And yes, while this is happening, we are just taking 1, but eventually our opponent is going to run out of cards, and we are starting to gain more value by playing more skeletons. Now we can do that and block their 1-1 if we need to. Now they play Spellgorger Weird, which is really unfortunate just because it is such a big thing. Now he runs this 1-1 and then shocks our guy to boost the Spellgorger Weird, so he's clearly running a lot more interaction than a lot of the other challenges. But what I decided to do is I decided to play the Skeleton Archer and just kill the Goblin. There could have been an argument to hit the player, but it's better off just to get the creature off the board so you don't have to worry about boost spells. Now he swings with the 3-3, and I block with the 1-2 because yes, I can just bring it back. And this is, I think, even better than the last game, teaching you how you can use these Sanctum Skeletons and their ability to bring things back well. Now we get this card called Nightmare, which is probably going to be how we win the game. Red really isn't good at getting rid of huge threats, and Nightmare is going to be as big as the amount of swamps we have, which has to be at least 6 in order for us to cast it. So we're going to be playing a 6/6 flyer for 6, that is going to get bigger. So that's probably our plan to win the game, we just have to kind of stall until then. So yeah, they have 2 cards left, and they swing with the 3-3, and I decide to not block because I'm planning on playing Nightmare next turn, and I just want to leave my creatures down in case they boost stuff next in a little bit. Now we get Mardu Outrider, which allows us to, it's a 5/5 for 3 that gives us the benefit of being able to discard. Or not the benefit, it has the downside of having to discard when you cast it. But what's interesting is with Sanctum Skeleton, we can kind of just pay 3 extra mana, and, we just pay 3 mana, bring it back to hand, and then cast Mardu Outrider, and so we kind of just get a 5/5 for 6, which isn't great, but at this point in the game, it might actually be worth it when we have 6 mana. So he swings with the 4/4, and you'll notice I don't block. Even though I have not lethal on him, but even though I can kill it, I don't block because, well, if he can cast 2 spells, or a shock even, they will trade. And then if he is able to, boost his, then they will lose, then I'll just lose my 6/6 for basically nothing. So I decided to swing in and say, hey, I can just kind of take the full force of a weird and block it with a 5/5 if I need to. Now, obviously what I should have done there is I should have brought the skeleton back to hand and then discarded it instead of discarding my only card, but whatever. He's going to swing, and you'll notice here that we have to be wary of combat and how creatures can be manipulated during combat. And that's another great thing that this lesson teaches you is that, hey, it may look like you can just block that, but be wary. That creature can get big. And it can get big by being boosted. It can get big by him casting more spells. It can just be very easily manipulated. Now, we do get to swing in here for the win. I did technically misplay. You should have brought the Sanctum Skeleton from your graveyard to your hand at the end step. But yeah, so that's the black versus red. It really teaches you about combat and how things can change during combat and how you can utilize cards that come back from your graveyard even more. So why don't we jump right into the next challenge? Alright, so jumping into the next challenge, it's black versus blue. Both very interactive colors. Our opponent is playing blue is based on flyers here, however. It's not as interactive as black. Now, they do play a 1/1 flyer, which is annoying, and then they play a 1/3, which really isn't worth trading with our 1/1, but most of our creatures aren't really going to be able to block anyway because they're using flyers. So there could be an argument to just deal with the 1/3 ahead of time. But I think it's better to stay conservative and just kind of let one of their creatures... I kill it because of Malakir of Coldblades. You want to kind of have a reason to kill it there so that I can kind of just, play him... it's useful to boost him up in case they play another 1/3. Now you'll notice here I discard the skeleton, And that is what what you should do in this situation. There is an argument to discard the swamp. Again, Magic isn't a game where it's just like, yes, you have to play this way or you're playing wrong. No, that's not how it is. There are many paths. There may have been people who said, hey, you should have discarded the swamp, but I feel like the card that can come back from the graveyard will be better. Now, what we're able to do here is use Skeleton Archer to kill one of their guys, which will boost ours to the point where we don't have to worry about it dying. So it's really those little interactions that you want to look for, and you'll notice a lot of them within here. It's the whole discarding the Sanctum Skeleton, using the Skeleton Archer to make it so they can't double block, but also make it so our creature is big enough to not even be to not be single blockable. So it's just all of those little interactions. You'll notice here that we actually have lethal on them if they don't have an effect, because we can kill their 2/1. Now what I do is I put it on the 3/3 just because it's good to have a large number of threats, and that's actually what they say the main lesson is. Make sure you have different threats in case they can remove things. Now here I probably should have killed it ahead of time because then I'm not threatening lethal, but I decide to kill the 2/1 so that I can boost up my other guys. And what they do is they bounce the 5/5, which I guess, okay, yes, I would have to then discard more cards, but that does let me get through and heal some, which lets us survive a little bit longer, and they basically have to attack with all but one creature in order to stay safe. But then they bounce things, and the right thing for them to bounce right now is probably the thing with Eternal Thirst on it, just because I can replay the Cold Blade. Both have their value. One of them has counters, more counters. Now what we're able to do here is many different things. We can do Malakir Coldblade, we can bring out our Mardu Outrider, we can kill one of their creatures in order to make our guy big enough to trade. But what we can also do is we can weaken his Sphinx so that, we can just kill it without trading. And I think that's probably the best move here, because if they leave that Sphinx up, it's going to be hard to get through. So what you can do is you can swing with the 4/4, and again, kind of manipulate combat a little bit. He thinks it's a safe swing, you're just doing it to gain life, but nope, actually now you're a 3/3 and we just get to kill it. So now they basically have to be very careful about what they do, because either of our creatures can kill them, and so if this was a real player, they would swing with only one of their creatures, leave the other two up for blocking, but they don't. So at this point, you still want to be wary. They could bounce both of your things. That is something they could do for 7 mana and 1 card. So that is something you need to be careful of. Also, I'm sorry if the mic was being weird there. So yeah, that's overall the lesson of that one, is make sure you have multiple threats. If you have one threat, it's really easy to kill, and then you just are out of the game. So if you would have put, your big boosty spell, boosty aura on your 5/5, well, now they're getting rid of 2 birds with 1 stone, versus before, now they have to get rid of 2 birds with 2 stones. So yeah, that's the overall theme of that one. So that is all of the black color challenges. I am doing one of these for every color. There'll be a playlist in the description. Overall, looking at the lessons, it's basically teaching you to save your removal for the right time, utilize your graveyard, have multiple threats, and be wary of combat manipulation. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please hit that like button so that other people can find it too. If you also enjoyed and want to see more awesome content like this, you can hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.